So now I want to show you something that I might do with my not so flattering picture of Beverly that I decided to select like one of the worst pictures I've ever taken and show you how to manipulate it. But what I might do is take it into a program that I like to use called Portrait Professional Studio 10. And that helps me do some quick retouching. I used to love it when I first got it, and I still do to a certain extent, but it does have a tendency to overdo, so you have to be careful when you're using it. I do think for somebody like Beverly, who's maybe not in her 20s, to do just a little bit of smoothing and refining, this might work really, really well. So what we do within Portrait Professional is first of all, we open the image, and I went ahead and put that in this folder here. I'm going to double click on it, and it's going to open her up in this program. You can see she's a little pixely, and I'm not sure why it does that, but when we export it, that'll all go away. So we're going to select her gender, which obviously is a female, and then it's going to tell me to go ahead and put a little mark right here in the corner of her eye, and then it's going to ask me to put another mark right there in the other corner of her eye. We're going to put one on the tip of her nose and in each corner of her mouth, and then it's going to ask me to make sure that these lines are lined up appropriately with the actual features on her face. This is for the eyebrow, and you can see her eyebrows all the way up here, and this thinks because of the algorithm that it did that the eyebrow was all the way down there. So I'm just going to fix that up a little bit. Once I'm done with this side, I'm going to hit the enter button, and it's going to take me to the next side. It got this eyebrow right, but not the eyes so much, so we're just going to refine that a little bit. Then we're going to tell it that her mouth is open, obviously, because we can see her teeth. And we're going to go ahead and drag this down here to match her lips. And if I look over here to the side, it's showing me exactly what it wants me to do and where it wants the placement of these guides. And you have to be careful sometimes with teeth, because if you get too into the teeth, it will cut them off in kind of an odd way. So I'm going to leave some extra lip action there. And now I'm going to click it over to her chin, over to the sides of her face. I'm going to make sure it's up here nice on her forehead. Then we're going to click enter again, and we're just going to wait. It's going to go through this really cool algorithm, and it's going to tell us what it thinks the picture should look like. It's going to do that here just in a second. So on the left hand side we can see the before, and on the right hand side we can see the after. She's just a little bit softer. I can go in and I can refine these features. So right now it's going to the preset, which is Young Woman Natural, and I know for a fact that Beverly's a little bit older than that, so I'm going to click here on Woman 35 to 45 Natural, and I can select Natural, which you can see didn't really do that much. It did make her a little bit smoother and made her face a little bit thinner. I can take a look at Glamorous, and this is going to oversaturate her a little bit. She looks a little bit overdone there, so I'm going to go back here to Natural. And you can see it's just not quite as saturated. I'm going to look at the images side by side, and that actually looks pretty good to me. Let's export it, and then I'm going to look at it just one more time in Photoshop. So to do that, we're going to go up here to File, Save As, and I'm going to call it Bev still, and it puts this PP extension next to it that's letting us know that we've changed it in Portrait Professional. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. Now this also allows you to do multiple people, so if I had a man and a woman, I could do the woman first and then do the man. If I had a family, I could do each person in the picture. So I'm just going to go ahead and close out of Portrait Professional. I'm going to go back to Photoshop, and I'm going to go ahead and open that picture and look at it just one more time. So this is the Bev_PP. And it looks pretty good. It looks a lot better than it did. I think we can all agree on that. Still not one of my best images, but for the purposes of what we're doing today, I think it's okay. The only thing that I don't like about her are these little spectral white spots right here. So I want to go ahead and get rid of those. And I'm thinking that the easiest way to do that is going to be to use my healing brush tool. And I want it to sample for me. So I'm going to select Spot Healing Brush Tool, which means that it samples for me. I could also select the Healing Brush Tool and select something on her face to have it choose from, but I'm going to start here because I think that in this instance the computer might know best. So I'm just going to click on that spot, and it kind of gets rid of it, but it leaves that other weird spot, I think because my brush was too big. So I'm going to undo it. And I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to go here again. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Alright, so that gets rid of some of that shininess. I'm going to do it here. I'm going to do it here. And this works really, really well for people with zits. So if you just want to redo, like she's got this little spot right here, I just click on it and the spot goes away. That looks a lot better to me. Highlights, I like it. I think it looks good. But I want to smooth this out just a little bit because she's got just a little bit of a line right there. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new layer. Say okay. And then I'm going to take my paintbrush, which is right here, and I'm going to select one that's nice and soft. And I want to make sure that my opacity is turned down to no more than 20%. Actually, probably a little better off if I make it more like 10%. Then we're going to select a color from her face just by clicking our control button. I'm going to go here. I want to pick a lighter part of her face. And I want this brush, you can see that's kind of at an angle. I don't want that. I want a round one. So I want to pick a brush that's pretty big. That way I can cover a lot of area very quickly and just get rid of just that little bit of shininess. And then what's nice about making that new layer is if that was just a little too much, I can click off of the layer and see what it looked like before. I actually prefer the after. So I'm thinking that looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. I'm going to flatten my image or merge my layers just by going to Layer, Flatten Image. I'm going to go ahead and save this.